The message arrived on every human colony at once. It was not a greeting. It was not a warning. It was a declaration. The Galactic Council had voted. Humanity was outlawed. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of the orbital station above Earth, watching the blue planet turn beneath her. Behind her, the emergency assembly filled with voices. Diplomats, military officers, scientists, all of them trying to understand what had just happened. "They cannot do this," Ambassador Torvin said. He was old, gray, and had spent 30 years building relationships with alien species across the galaxy. His hands shook as he held the data pad. "We have rights. We signed the accords. We followed every law." Sarah turned from the window. Her face was calm, but her mind was racing. She had seen war. She had seen betrayal. But this was different. This was something colder. "What exactly does outlawed mean?" she asked. Torvin looked at her. His eyes were tired. "It means we are no longer protected by council law. Any species can attack us, take our worlds, kill our people, and it will not be called war. It will be called enforcement." The room went silent. Sarah walked to the central console and pulled up the council transmission. She had already watched it 3 times, but she needed to see it again. The hologram flickered to life. 7 alien representatives appeared, each one representing a different corner of the galaxy. The speaker was a Kryn, a tall insect-like being with 4 arms and eyes that reflected no light. The species known as humanity has been deemed incompatible with galactic peace, the Kryn said. Its voice was translated into flat, emotionless English. "After careful review, the Council has determined that human expansion, human curiosity, and human ambition present an unacceptable risk to the stability of civilized space. Effective immediately, all human claims to territory beyond their home system are void. All treaties are dissolved. All protections are removed. Humanity is outlawed." The transmission ended. Sarah replayed the last part. Something about the wording bothered her. She had spent 10 years in military intelligence before moving to command. She knew how to read between lines. "They are afraid of us," she said quietly. Torvin frowned. "Afraid? Sarah, we are one species among thousands. We have been in space for less than a century. Most of the Council races have been traveling the stars for 10,000 years or more. What could they possibly fear?" Sarah pointed at the screen. "Listen to the words. Not incompatible, not dangerous. Incompatible with galactic peace. And they said human curiosity is a risk." "Why would curiosity be a threat?" A younger officer named Marcus spoke up from the back. "Because we ask questions they do not want answered." Everyone turned to look at him. Marcus stepped forward. He was a communications analyst, quiet and careful. "I have been monitoring Council channels for 2 years. There are patterns. Whenever a human research team makes a breakthrough, Council ships appear nearby. When we found the artifacts on Kepler 9, a Kryn fleet arrived within days. When our scientists decoded the ancient signal from the Veil Nebula, the Council demanded we hand over all data. They said it was for our own protection." Sarah felt something click in her mind. "What were we getting close to?" Marcus hesitated. "I do not know, but I think they do." Torvin sat down heavily. "If that is true, then this is not about law. This is about control. And if it is about control, then we are not just outlawed. We are marked for extinction." Sarah looked around the room. Fear was spreading. She could see it in their faces. But fear was not useful. "Not yet. How long do we have?" she asked. "The nearest Council enforcement fleets are 4 days away," Torvin said. "But mercenary groups and opportunists will move faster. Maybe hours, maybe less. Every species in the galaxy just learned that killing humans has no consequences." Sarah nodded. She walked back to the window and stared at Earth. Billions of people down there. Millions more scattered across the colonies on Mars, Europa, Titan, outposts on distant worlds, research stations, families, children. She thought about her daughter. Emily was 7. She was on Earth, safe with Sarah's mother. "Safe for now. We need to know why," Sarah said. "If we are going to survive this, we need to know what they are hiding." Torvin stood. "Sarah, we do not have time for investigations. We need to evacuate. We need to consolidate our forces. We need to prepare for the worst." "We are already at the worst," Sarah said. She turned to face him. "If we run, we die scattered. If we fight blind, we die stupid. But if we find out what they fear, maybe we find a way to survive." Marcus stepped forward again. "There is one person who might know. Dr. Elise Tovan. She led the team that decoded the Veil Nebula signal. The council tried to silence her research, but she refused. Last I heard, she went underground, disappeared into the outer colonies. Sarah looked at him. Can you find her? I can try. Do it fast. Torvin shook his head. Sarah, even if we find her, even if she knows something, what difference does it make? The council has already decided. The vote is done. Sarah walked to the door. She paused and looked back. The council understood something about us that made them afraid enough to break their own laws. That means we have power we do not even know about yet. And if they understood that, then maybe it is already too late for them, not us. She left the room. Behind her, the assembly erupted into noise again. But Sarah did not listen. She was already planning, already thinking 3 steps ahead. Somewhere in the black expanse of space, a clock was ticking. Ships were moving, guns were being loaded. Humanity had been sentenced without trial, without mercy. But Sarah Chen had learned something in her years of command. The most dangerous enemy was not the one with the biggest fleet. It was the one who refused to accept defeat, and humanity had never been good at accepting anything. Dr. Elise Tovin lived in a forgotten mining station on the edge of the Arcturus belt. The station had been abandoned for 20 years, left to drift in the dark after the ore veins dried up. It was the last place anyone would look. That was exactly why she chose it. Sarah arrived with a small team. Marcus, 2 security officers, and a pilot. They docked quietly, using old access codes Marcus had pulled from black market contacts. The station was cold. The lights were dim. But someone was alive inside. They found Elise in what used to be the command center. She was surrounded by screens, data pads, and old star charts. She looked thin, tired, but her eyes were sharp. When she saw them, she did not seem surprised. You are here about the signal, Elise said. Sarah nodded. The council outlawed us. We need to know why. Elise smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had seen the truth and wished they had not. I wondered how long it would take. Sit down, Commander. This will take a while. They sat. Elise pulled up a hologram of the galaxy. It rotated slowly, stars and systems glowing in soft light. The council is old, Elise began. Older than most people realize. The 7 founding species have controlled this part of the galaxy for over 40,000 years. They have rules. Strict rules, and the most important rule is this: no species is allowed to ask certain questions. What questions? Sarah asked. Elise zoomed in on a region of space near the galactic core. Questions about the architects. Marcus leaned forward. The architects are a myth, a legend. Every species has stories about ancient builders, but no one has ever found proof. That is what the council wants you to believe, Elise said. But the architects were real. They built structures across the galaxy millions of years ago. Massive machines. Technologies we still cannot understand. And then they disappeared. The council knows this. They found the evidence long ago, and they buried it. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Why? Elise changed the hologram. Now it showed a strange object, a spinning ring of metal and light, impossibly complex. Because the architects did not just disappear. They left something behind. Instructions, a map, a test, and the council failed it. What kind of test? Sarah asked. A test of worthiness, Elise said. The architects built their technology to respond only to species that meet certain criteria. Intelligence, creativity, adaptability. The council races tried for thousands of years to access the architect systems. They failed every single time. Their minds are too rigid, too hierarchical, too afraid of change, so they decided that if they could not have the architect's power, no one could. They created a system to suppress any species that showed the traits the architects valued. Marcus stared at her. You are saying the council has been controlling the entire galaxy to prevent anyone from accessing ancient technology? Not just preventing, Elise said. Erasing. Any species that gets close to the truth is destroyed. Quietly, carefully. The council calls it the containment protocol. Over the last 10,000 years, they have eliminated at least 30 intelligent species. The galaxy thinks those species died in wars or plagues or accidents. But the Council killed them. All of them. Sarah felt her stomach turn. And now it is our turn. Elise nodded. Humans have something the Council races do not. We are unpredictable. We take risks. We ask questions no one else asks. And 3 years ago, my team decoded a signal from the Veil Nebula. It was not just a signal. It was a key that responds to human neural patterns. The architect systems recognize us. The room was silent. That is why they are afraid, Sarah said quietly. We can access what they cannot. Yes, and if humans gain access to architect technology, the balance of power shifts. The Council loses control. 40,000 years of dominance ends, so they voted to outlaw us, to erase us before we become too dangerous. Sarah stood and paced. Her mind was working fast now. Where is the key? Where is this signal? Elise pulled up coordinates. The source is a structure in the Veil Nebula, a station, massive, still functional after millions of years. I sent a probe. It responded. It opened. It is waiting. Waiting for what? For us, for humans, but the Council knows about it now. They will destroy it, and they will destroy anyone who tries to reach it. Sarah looked at Marcus. How far? 2 weeks at maximum burn, Marcus said. But we would need a ship, a fast one, and a crew willing to go on a suicide mission. Sarah turned back to Elise. If we reach that station, what happens? Elise met her eyes. I do not know. The architects left their systems dormant for a reason. Maybe they contain weapons. Maybe they contain knowledge. Maybe they contain something else entirely. But whatever. It is powerful enough that the Council has spent 10,000 years making sure no one ever finds it. Sarah thought about Earth, about her daughter, about every human alive. The Council had already decided their fate. Running would not save them. Hiding would not save them. The only chance was to change the game entirely. We go to the station, Sarah said. Elise stared at her. Commander, you do not understand. The Council will send everything they have to stop you. Fleets, weapons. They will burn that station to ash before they let you inside. Then we better move fast, Sarah said. She turned to Marcus. Find me a ship. Find me a crew. We leave in 6 hours. Marcus nodded and left. Sarah looked back at Elise. Are you coming? Elise laughed, a short, bitter sound. I have been hiding for 3 years. I am tired of hiding. Yes, I am coming. Sarah extended her hand. Elise shook it. One more thing, Sarah said. You said the Council understood what we are capable of. You said it was already too late for them. What did you mean? Elise smiled. This time it was a real smile. Dangerous, hopeful. Because the signal is not just in the Veil Nebula. It is everywhere. Every architect structure in the galaxy just woke up, and they are all calling for us. The ship was called the Avalon. It was a deep space research vessel, fast and quiet, built for long missions into unmapped regions. The Council had not yet listed it in their target databases. That gave Sarah and her crew a thin advantage. Thin, but real. They moved in silence through the outer systems, avoiding trade routes and communication hubs. Sarah had assembled a crew of 30. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, all volunteers, all aware they might not come back. Elise worked day and night in the science bay, refining the signal data. The key was complex, layered with frequencies that shifted based on neural activity. It was not a code, it was a conversation. And it only spoke to minds that could think in certain ways. The architects were testing for creativity under pressure, Elise explained during a briefing. They wanted species that could adapt, improvise, survive. The Council races evolved in stable environments. Their civilizations are built on tradition and repetition. Humans evolved in chaos. We are wired differently. Marcus monitored Council channels. The chatter was increasing. Fleets were mobilizing. Mercenary groups were hunting human colonies. The enforcement had begun. They are not just coming for us, Marcus said. They are erasing every human outpost they can find. The colonies on Barnard's star are gone. The stations near Proxima are under attack. They are moving fast. Sarah felt the weight of it. People were dying while she chased a ghost in the nebula. But she could not think about that now. If they failed here, everyone died anyway. On the 5th day, they reached the edge of the Veil Nebula. The structure appeared on their scanners. It was enormous. A ring 50 kilometers in diameter, built from materials that did not match anything in known science. It floated in the gas clouds, silent and ancient. "It is beautiful," someone whispered. Sarah stared at the screen. "It is a weapon. Or a tool, or both. Elise, can you activate it?" Elise worked at her console. "I am sending the key now. It should respond to our neural signatures. If this works, the station will recognize us as valid users." The signal went out. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the ring began to glow. Soft blue light spread across its surface, pulsing in rhythm with something that felt almost like a heartbeat. The station was waking up. "It is working," Elise said. "The structure is responding. It is opening a docking port." Sarah nodded to the pilot. "Take us in, slowly." They approached the station. Up close, it was even more overwhelming. The surface was covered in symbols and patterns, shifting and changing as they watched. It was alive in some way, aware. They docked. The airlock sealed. Sarah suited up and led a team inside. The interior was vast. Corridors stretched in impossible directions, defying normal geometry. The walls glowed with soft light. There was air, warm and clean, even though the station had been dormant for millions of years. "This should not be possible," one of the engineers said. "The architects did not think like us," Elise replied. "Their technology operates on principles we have not discovered yet." They moved deeper. The station seemed to guide them, doors opening ahead, paths lighting up. It wanted them to reach the center. They found it in a chamber at the heart of the ring. A sphere of light suspended in the air, rotating slowly. Data flowed around it in streams of symbols and images. It was a library, a mind, a gift. Elise stepped forward. She reached out, and the light responded. It wrapped around her, gentle and curious. Information flooded into her mind. She gasped, staggered, but did not pull away. Sarah grabbed her arm. "Elise, what is it?" "What are you seeing?" Elise opened her eyes. Tears ran down her face. "Everything. The architects left us everything. History, technology, knowledge spanning millions of years. But there is something else. A warning." "What warning?" "The architects did not disappear," Elise said. "They evolved. They became something beyond physical form. And they left these stations as a test. Species that pass the test gain access to the knowledge. But species that fail are left behind. The council failed because they tried to control the test, to force it open. And now the test is changing. The architects are watching. They are deciding whether humanity is worthy, or whether we are just another failed experiment." Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her. This was not just about survival. This was about proving something to an intelligence so vast it had left the physical universe behind. "How do we prove it?" Sarah asked. Elise looked at her. "By choosing. The station is offering us power, weapons that could destroy the council, technology that could make us gods. But if we take it out of fear, out of revenge, the test fails. The architects will judge us unworthy. The station will shut down. And we lose everything." Sarah stared at the sphere of light. She thought about Earth, about her daughter, about all the people dying while the council crushed them. "So we have to choose mercy," Sarah said, "even while they hunt us." "Yes." Sarah closed her eyes. Strategy, intelligence, sacrifice. That was what this had always been about. "Then we do not take the weapons," Sarah said. "We take the knowledge. We learn, we grow. We show the architects that we are more than survival instincts." Elise smiled. "That is the right answer. But the council will not wait for us to learn. They are already coming." Marcus's voice crackled over the comm. "Commander, we have contacts. Council fleet, 6 warships. They just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They are moving toward the station. We have maybe 10 minutes. Sarah looked at her team. "Get everything you can from that sphere. Download it, record it. We are leaving." They worked fast. Elise interfaced with the station, pulling data into portable drives. The light flickered and pulsed, cooperating, eager to share. But outside, the council fleet was closing in. And Sarah knew, even as they worked, that 10 minutes would not be enough. The first strike hit the outer hull of the Avalon. The ship shuddered, alarms screaming. Sarah grabbed a console to steady herself. "They are firing on us!" Marcus shouted. "Shields are holding, but not for long." Sarah ran back toward the docking port. "Elise, we need to go now." "I am not done," Elise said. Her hands moved across the interface, desperately pulling data. "There is too much." "I need more time." We do not have time. Another impact. Harder this time. The lights flickered. Sarah made a decision. Everyone back to the ship. Now. That is an order. The team moved. But Elise stayed. She kept working, her face locked in concentration. Elise, Sarah said. Go. Elise replied. I will follow. I just need one more minute. Sarah hesitated. Then she ran. She had to trust Elise. They reached the Avalon and sealed the airlock. The pilot fired the engines, pulling away from the station. But the council ships were already surrounding them. 6 warships, each one massive, bristling with weapons. They are hailing us, Marcus said. Sarah nodded. Put it through. The view screen lit up. A Kryn commander appeared, its forearms folded, its black eyes unreadable. Human vessel, you are in violation of council decree. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate destruction. Sarah met its gaze. We are leaving. We are not a threat to you. You accessed an architect structure. That is a crime against galactic law. You will surrender all data and submit to judgment. Your law just made us outlaws, Sarah said. We do not recognize your authority anymore. The Kryn tilted its head. Then you choose death. The transmission cut. The council ships opened fire. The Avalon's shields flared as energy blasts slammed into them. The ship rolled, dodging, the pilot pushing the engines to their limit. But there were too many of them. Too much firepower. Shields at 40%, Marcus called out. Return fire, Sarah ordered. The Avalon had weapons, but they were research grade, not military. The shots scattered off the council ship's armor, barely leaving marks. We cannot win this, Marcus said. Sarah knew he was right, but she also knew something else. The council was not trying to destroy them quickly. They were hurting them, forcing them away from the station. They want the station intact, Sarah said. They are going to blow it up, but they want us away from it first, so we cannot use it. She looked at the view screen. The ancient ring glowed in the nebula, still open, still active. Elise was still inside. Elise, where are you? Sarah spoke into the comm. Static. Then Elise's voice, broken and faint. Still here, I got it. I got all the data. But the council is targeting the station. They are going to fire on it. You need to go. We are coming back for you. No, you are not. Elise's voice was calm. Too calm. Commander, I am sending you the files now. Everything the architects left us. But I am staying. If I leave, the station closes. If it closes, the council destroys it and no one ever gets another chance. But if I stay, if I keep it open, the architects will see. They will judge. And maybe that matters. Sarah felt her chest tighten. Elise, do not do this. You said we have to choose mercy. We have to prove we are more than survival. This is my choice. Let me make it. The transmission cut. On the view screen, the council ships turned their main guns toward the station. The Kryn commander's voice came through again. Final warning, human vessel. Withdraw or be destroyed with the structure. Sarah looked at Marcus. At her crew. They were all watching her. Waiting. She thought about strategy. About sacrifice. About what it meant to pass the test. Get us out of here, Sarah said quietly. The pilot engaged the engines. The Avalon pulled away, accelerating into the nebula. Behind them, the council ships fired. Beams of energy lanced through space, converging on the ancient ring. The structure flared, its shields activating, holding against the assault. But the council poured more power into the attack. The light grew blinding. Inside the station, Elise stood in the central chamber. The sphere of light surrounded her, warm and gentle. She was not afraid. She had spent her life searching for truth. Now she had found it. The station shook. The walls cracked. But the light held her. I understand now, she whispered, and then the station exploded. The blast lit up the nebula, a brief star burning in the dark. The shockwave rippled outward, tearing through the gas clouds. On the Avalon, Sarah watched the screens. The station was gone. Elise was gone. The crew stood in silence. Marcus spoke quietly. She saved the data. It is here. All of it. Sarah nodded. She could not speak. Not yet. The council ships did not pursue them. They had gotten what they wanted. The structure was destroyed. The humans were scattered. The threat was contained, but Sarah knew something they did not. The test was not over. 3 months passed. The council's hunt continued, but slower now. Human ships scattered into deep space, hiding in asteroid fields and dead systems. The colonies were gone. Earth itself was blockaded. Billions trapped under council surveillance. But in the dark, Something else was happening. Sarah and the surviving crew of the Avalon traveled from ship to ship, outpost to outpost, sharing the data Elise had died to protect. Scientists studied it. Engineers built from it. Soldiers trained with it. The architects had left more than weapons. They had left understanding. The knowledge rewired how humans thought, how they built, how they moved through space. New engines, new shields, new ways to communicate across light years and seconds. Humanity was evolving, and the Council noticed. Sarah stood in the command center of a hidden station built into the heart of a rogue planet. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of human forces, small, scattered, but connected now in ways the Council could not track. Marcus approached. The data is spreading. Every human ship has it now. Every scientist. Every engineer. We are building things the Council has never seen before. Sarah nodded. And they are afraid again. They should be. A new transmission came through. Not from the Council. From somewhere deeper. Something old. The image that appeared was not a face. It was a pattern of light, shifting and flowing. A voice spoke, not in words but in feelings, in concepts that translated directly into understanding, humanity. You have been judged. Sarah stood still. The crew around her froze. The test was never about power, the voice continued. It was about choice. When you stood at the edge of destruction, you chose knowledge over vengeance. When you faced the end, you chose sacrifice over survival. You are young, chaotic, dangerous, but you are worthy. The light pulsed, and the station's systems came alive. Across the galaxy, every dormant architect structure activated at once. Thousands of them, millions, all responding to the same signal. The Council tried to control what they could not understand. They failed the test long ago. But you have passed. The knowledge is yours. The future is yours. What you do with it will define your place in the cosmos. The voice faded. Sarah looked at Marcus. What just happened? I think, Marcus said slowly, we just inherited the galaxy. Across known space, the Council fleets suddenly found themselves facing a new reality. Human ships appeared where sensors said nothing existed. Human stations materialized in systems thought empty. And every architect structure in the galaxy now responded to human presence. The balance of power had shifted. The Kryn High Council convened in emergency session. They watched the reports flood in. Panic spread through their ranks. They have the architect's blessing, one said. We cannot fight this. We already tried, another replied. We outlawed them. We hunted them, and we made them stronger. The eldest Kryn, the one who had declared humanity illegal, stared at the data. We understood too late. We saw what they could become, and we tried to stop it. But by the time we acted, the architects had already chosen them. The chamber fell silent. What do we do now? The eldest Kryn made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sigh. We negotiate. We apologize. We hope they are more merciful than we were. Back on the hidden station, Sarah received a transmission from the Council. A request for dialogue. An offer of peace. Her crew looked at her, waiting. Do we answer? Marcus asked. Sarah thought about Elise, about all the people who had died, about her daughter on Earth, still waiting. We answer, Sarah said, but not yet. Let them wait. Let them understand what it feels like to be at someone else's mercy. She turned to the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the architects were watching, judging, waiting to see what humanity would do with the gift they had been given. Sarah knew the choice mattered. Revenge would be easy. Dominance would be simple, but that was not what the test was about. We show them what we learned, Sarah said quietly. We show them that power is not about control. It is about choice, and we choose to be better than they were. Marcus smiled. That is going to be hard. Everything worth doing is. Sarah activated the comm system, preparing to send a message back to Earth, to the scattered colonies, to every human who had survived. This is Commander Chen. The war is over. We won. Not because we destroyed our enemies, but because we proved we deserved to survive. The galaxy is ours now, not to conquer, to explore, to learn from, to share. The Council will answer for what they did, but we will not become what they feared. We will become what the architects hoped for. We will become worthy of the gift we were given. She paused, thinking of Elise one last time. And we will never forget the price that was paid to get us here. The transmission went out across the stars. And in the silence that followed, Sarah felt something shift. Not in the galaxy. In herself. The weight of command, of loss, of responsibility. It did not get lighter, but it felt bearable now, because humanity had not just survived. They had proven they deserved to. And that, Sarah thought, was worth everything.